So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the class back to the smart materials and structures. So we are about towards the end of our module 1. So in the last class, can anyone at least tell what we dealt about? Just briefly, quick.
And we saw active strain expressions,
Okay.
internal and external leverage system,
Uh-huh.
and structural
And
interaction and
we,
geometry of PZT
yes.
and motion of the rod in mechanical loading.
Yes. So basically, we dealt related to the, what do you mean by leverage system? So we focused the leverage system with respect to our piezoelectric element, and we related how an actuator could be used for internal as well as external leverage systems. And later, it was very much essential for you to understand the interaction which come across in between an actuator and a structure, or an actuator and a substrate. So how the strain gets varied. The strain which comes into picture will be of two components. One is a mechanical strain and piezo strain. Like how will be the sign convention of the piezo strain and the mechanical strain, and at the contact, whether there will be any magnitude of the strain or it will be nullified or neutralized, whether there will be any connectivity or not. So all these aspects we studied in the last class. And later, the concepts related to our actuator and structure interaction was focused for our axial modes of rods. So in axial modes of rods, I told that we have to focus this for both the direct effect as well as the converse piezoelectric effect. So in the last class, we were dealing with the axial motion across the rods due to the attachment of the piezo patch as shown over here for the direct piezo effect. So we just evaluated how the stress distribution equation will come across, assuming the elastic modulus for the actuator or the piezo element will be greater than that of the elastic modulus for the substrate or the structure. So we had ended up with this part in the last class, right? So the last equation we didn't dealt about. Did we go with this equation or not? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
We went through this. Okay. So we dealt mechanical loading is the sense you will be applying some amount of load to it. So where force will be greater than 0, it cannot be 0, but you are not applying any voltage, and hence the voltage input will be equal to 0. This condition you should be aware. So when the strain is uniform here, the strain distribution, so this rod is nothing but our structure or the substrate, and this is a piezo patch. So when the strain is uniform throughout the rod, okay, so it is towards the positive x direction. So the force which has been exerted at this section will be nothing but the combination of the both. So here you have studied the stress for the substrate as well as the stress distribution for our piezo element. So here it will be the combination of both the elements. You will be having the piezo patch as well as the structure. So the strain induced in the material due to subjection of the mechanical loading in the piezo element will be given here. It is taken as twice because the elastic modulus we are assuming to be greater than that of the substrate elastic modulus, and hence the strain induced in the piezo patch is twice. You have the two area, cross-sectional area of the piezo patch, one at the top and one at the bottom. So you will take the strain induced in the piezo patch as twice, and the thickness of the piezo patch is nothing but the actuator or the piezo element. So that is T suffix A. Along with that, we have the width of the piezo patch, which is nothing but B. So this is the value only for our piezo element or the actuator. Plus, you should consider the strain induced in our rod, which is nothing but our substrate or the structure on which the patch is resting, and the thickness of the substrate, right? So you have a top patch here and a bottom patch. So this is also TA and this is also TA, right? So here you have only one thickness for the rod or the structure, which is nothing but T suffix S. So that you will be taking, and again the width of the structure is the same. So you will take B. So addition of these two will yield you the force at the equilibrium position, right? So now you have this equation. Later, we will substitute the value of the strain induced across the actuator and across the substrate as derived in last class. So what are those equations? You have your strain induced across the structure as the Young's modulus, sorry, the elastic modulus across the substrate and the relative permittivity of the substrate. Similarly, the strain induced across the actuator is equal to the elastic modulus across the piezo element and the relative permittivity across the structure. So the same thing you will substitute in this equation. You have sigma A here and sigma S. So in these two places, you will substitute the value what I told right now, these two values. And of the substitution, when you simplify, you will get the stress. Okay, the stress induced will be given in this way. So you will substitute this equation and you will simplify. Once you simplify, you will yield with the equation, which is nothing but the strain distribution across the rod. When you have two patches of PZT and it is subjected to an external force F. This is only the simple mathematics. After you substitute the value of sigma A and sigma S, you just simplify it, okay, and you will get the value of relative permittivity along the direction X. Okay, so this is the direction in which the force has been exerted. So the relative permittivity value, what you are getting, will be along the direction X. So this will be the final value what you get. So this is the equation for strain distribution in the rod. Okay, and this is the stress distribution across the rod when you have two patches of piezoelectric element, and it is for our first type, which is the direct piezoelectric effect, where you will be having the mechanical loading force greater than 0 and voltage you won't be applying anything, and hence V is equal to 0. So this is the first case where you have to know to derive the equation both for the stress distribution as well as the strain distribution related to the direct piezo effect. Is this clear?
Yes, miss.
Yeah. So next we will go for indirect piezoelectric effect. So here, what is the case for indirect piezoelectric effect? You will be applying the voltage, and hence voltage here you can see voltage will be obviously greater than 0, and you will not be applying any force. So you will apply the voltage, right? So based on the voltage, the strain will be induced in the element, and hence it provides the corresponding displacement. For this, again, for this condition also, you should be able to derive the stress and the strain. So here, in the previous case, what we dealt about the displacement is uniform across the section, but now we will be assuming that the strain will differ across both the materials. Here you have to understand both the materials is nothing but one is our actuator and other one is our structure. And we have dealt the interaction between the actuator and the structure. So when you have the strain distribution different across both the materials, superposition happens and there will be sign convention change in the strain induced. All these things we have studied. So all those concepts now we have to try to implement over here. Okay, so due to the difference in the strain across the actuator and across the substrate, there will be difference in the electrically induced free strain. So the free strain across the actuator will be different, and the free strain which is developed across the substrate or the structure will be different. And as a result, the polarity of the applied voltage will lead for the extension of the actuator along the X direction. So what do you mean by this? You have a difference in the strain, and due to the difference in the strain, the sign convention will be different, and due to electric voltage, it makes the material to get extend towards your positive x direction. Remember, this is indirect effect. You won't be getting any voltage as the output. It is only the displacement what you will be getting based on the voltage what you are applying. And hence here, due to the change in the distribution of the strain across the piezo element and across the structure, you will be having the change in the polarity of the voltage induced, and due to this change in the polarity, you will get the deformation or the displacement towards your positive x direction. And hence, what happens is, some portion of the rod that lies between the PZT patches. So you will be having the PZT patches here one and here one. So when you have a rod which is away from the PZT patches, it can also extend, and hence the relative permittivity of the element here will be always greater than 0. Relative permittivity is nothing but the dielectric constant. The dielectric constant cannot be equal to 0. Since the part of the rod also stretches, it will be having some value of the relative permittivity. Okay. Sorry, the relative permittivity comes with respect to the dielectric constant. When we are speaking with respect to the structure, it is just the strain. The strain induced across the structure will be greater than 0. What you have to understand is, this is our structure, and you have an piezo element at the top and piezo element at the bottom. So due to the applied voltage, there will be strain in our actuator as well as the structure. But the amount of strain in the actuator will be more than that of the amount of strain in the structure. But still, the free space away from the piezo patches will be extending towards our positive x direction. Due to this extension, there will be mild amount of strain induced in the structure. So that strain is nothing but our this value. Okay, so relative permittivity to the epsilon to the suffix yes, and this displacement value will be always greater than 0. It cannot be 0 because it will be having at least minimum amount of displacement with respect to the strain of the piezo element, and hence you have to consider that the strain across the structure will not be equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, what happens? Okay, it will be greater than 0, but it will be so negligible that you can assume that to be equal to 0, but theoretically we cannot tell that it is equal to 0. There will be some mild deformation or the displacement which come across our x direction. But one thing you have to keep in mind, when you apply the voltage, the strain induced in both the surface will be different. Across the actuator will be different and across the structure. And there will be change in the polarity of the voltage applied. And as a result, it will move towards the positive x direction. And the maximum strain will be across the piezo element, whereas the strain across the structure will be greater than 0, but too negligible, where you can assume as equal to 0, but theoretically you cannot put that value. You will show that the strain across the structure is greater than 0. So next is, I told you the actuator experiences a strain equal to that in the rod. Okay, so there will be an equal strain across the actuator is nothing but our piezo patch, and that is called as a free strain. So free strain is nothing but the strain which has been induced across our piezoelectric element. But the strain across the rod and the strain across the piezo patch will be superpositioned, or it will be superimposed, because the strain will be imposing on one above the other. So this we have studied during our structure and actuator interface also, all right, in the last class. So it gets superimposed. You will be having maximum strain here and minimum strain here. But if you assume the strain is equal in both the cases, then it superimposes on the components as shown in the next figure. Okay, is the slide visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this is a superimposed position. You can see here when the strain generated is, so here in the first case, the strain is similar in both the things, right? So it gets deformed in positive x-axis. So when you have the equal amount of strain and there is change in the polarity, the sign convention will be different. So this will be the strain of the structure through which you have the displacement, and this will be the strain induced across the piezo patch. Since both are uniformly distributed, the sign convention will be different because the voltage applied, the polarity will get changed. Plus, minus, minus, plus is the voltage what you apply across the electrode of the piezo patch. So that electrode will be parallel to the surface of the structure. So due to this change in the polarity, there will be opposite sign for the strain induced. So this is how you show the directions. In this case, you have to determine the net strain. So the net strain here, what happens is, you have to see when there is a superposition, the actuators will be completely strained and they would undergo a mechanical compressive strain. So this is the free strain, what we have told already, the free strain across the piezoelectric element. But due to the presence of strain across the structure and change in the sign convention, you will be having a net polarity, the net strain value as the strain across the structure minus the strain across the piezo element. So here you can see. So this is a strain across the structure and this is a strain across the piezo element. So the net strain will be the difference of the strain across the structure minus to the strain across the piezo element. So this will be the distance which will be the net polarization. So this is across the structure and this is across the piezo element. So the difference between the structure and the piezo element will provide you the net strain, which will be equal to this value. And there will be a minus sign. Remember to write the minus sign because here you are taking in the opposite direction. Okay. So the net strain will be equal to this. After that, now you have to evaluate the stress induced, okay, in our actuator when you have a non-uniform distribution of the stress. So you know the equation for the strain for the structure. So the stress induced in the structure is equal to the elastic modulus of the structure and the strain induced across the structure. This remains the same. But when the strain is different, then the net strain will vary across our piezo patch. So this variation you will write related to our piezoelectric equation for the stress induced. So the stress induced across the actuator or the piezoelectric patch will be equal to, you will change the direction. It is in the opposite direction because there is no uniformity in the stress distribution. So the sign convention will get changed. So you will write minus of the elastic modulus of the actuator and the net strain induced will be the difference between the strain across the structure minus the strain across the piezo element. So you should be very careful while solving the problems. When you think about the axial motion of rods, you have two options. One is mechanical loading and actuator loading. If it is based on actuator loading, then you have to use this equation only. If you go with the previous equation here for the strain distribution across the piezo element, then you will go wrong. This is only for mechanical loading where you apply the force. When you apply the electrical voltage, the strain induced equation will be this equation what you have to follow. And further, here the force applied will be 0. In previous case, what happened? we applied in some magnitude of the force because that was mechanical loading. So you need to achieve this equation to attain the force equilibrium. But in case of actuator loading, you are not applying any force at all. It is only the voltage what you are applying. So in order to make the equation in equilibrium condition, here you won't write F. Please remember, since force applied is 0, you will directly write it as 0. So the force applied will be equal to 0. Only the strain is being induced in the body due to the applied electrical voltage. So the strain induced across the piezo patch plus the strain induced across the structure will be equal to 0 for the net equilibrium condition. So here you have two piezo patches, one at the top and one at the bottom. Right, you will write twice the strain induced across the actuator plus the thickness of the actuator and the width of the actuator. Similarly, for the substrate, this will be equal to 0. So this is the equation. In this equation, now we have to substitute the value of sigma s in this equation and substitute the value of sigma a in this equation 2.17. So after substitution, then you will calculate the strain distribution here for the given rod. So after simplification, you will get this equation. So this is the stress and the strain distribution equation for the axial motion of the rods, which has a piezo patch and subjected to indirect piezo effect. And previous one was the strain distribution equation and the stress distribution equation for the rod under axial motion due to piezo patches under mechanical loading only, which is our direct piezoelectric effect. So you should be very clear about the two equations. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So then later,
Yes,
finally you have to, yeah, thank you. So then you have to finally find out the relative permittivity of the piezo element. So that will be equal to our electromechanical coupling coefficient, which is D31, into the amount of voltage applied across the piezo element, which has a thickness of T. So this will help you to find out the value of relative permittivity of the given piezo element. So this dielectric constant mainly depends upon the electromechanical coupling factor. So this electromechanical coupling factor again mainly depends upon what is the amount of voltage you have supplied and what is the deformation you are getting. Because if it has an equal 100% conversion, then your coupling factor will be higher. If the total voltage is not converted into displacement, then the coupling factor will be lower. So it again depends upon to the specimen area of the piezo patch for what you have applied. What is the thickness of it? Even the aspect ratio of the specimen should be cleanly clarified and given proper dimension. If the aspect ratio is also not proper, then you can get some variation in the piezoelectric charge coefficients, coupling factor, as well as the relative permittivity. So the last case is if you apply both the mechanical and the piezoelectric loading together, what happens? Means in the sense you are applying the electrical voltage for direct effect, and again you are applying the force for the indirect effect in a single device at a time. Okay, means first it will go ahead with one process. Once direct effect is over, it comes back for the converse effect. Means constituently you are applying the voltage as well as the force, where both the values are greater than 0. In that case, what happens is you can find an proper way of superposition one after the other. So in this case, this will be the equation. The strain across the structure will be equal to the equation F by B plus 2EA. Why this is coming? You have to observe the last two equations here. So what is the last two equations? So this is the strain induced across the structure for mechanical loading, and this is the strain induced across the structure for actuator loading. When you have both the cases together, you will be adding both the equations over here. So the first equation as F by B. Okay, the second equation as 2 times the elastic modulus of the actuator plus the free strain across the piezo element and the thickness of the actuator or the piezo element. So that itself has been written here. The combination of both the numerators. This is of mechanical loading and this is of actuator loading. But the denominator remains same in both the actuator loading as well as in the mechanical loading. And hence, finally, when you have both the actuator and the mechanical loading together, here also the strain induced in the structure will be having the same numerator, denominator, only the numerator keeps on changing because you will add both the cases, one for mechanical loading and one for actuator loading. And hence, when you have two conditions going parallelly together, then this is the equation what you have to use to evaluate the strain across the structure. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, here you have to
Yes, ma'am.
understand three cases. Axial motion of the rod when subjected to mechanical loading, axial motion of the rod when subjected to the actuator loading, and axial motion of the rod when it is subjected to both the loadings. How you evaluate the strain across the given substrate. So once you understand, you have one more part in your syllabus which is related to the strain actuation for uniform strain model. So now you know what you mean by strain, actuator and structure interrelationship, and how to evaluate the strain distribution equation and the stress distribution equation for mechanical loading as well as the actuator loading as well as a combination of both. So once you're clear with it, you should try to make an model which is called as a strain model. So strain model, you are focusing when the strain actuation is uniform across the given device. We are not focusing for uneven distribution of the strain. So it is for uniform distribution of the strain across the actuator with respect to the structure, how you will evaluate the strain model. So there were two researchers by name Crowley and Anderson. So he developed a model called as static model. Okay. So here he assumed that the strain always remains constant across the piezo patch. So here you can see the device, right? This is the substrate. So the substrate thickness is from here to that of here. Okay, so this is the substrate. Above the substrate, you have a piezo patch at the top and piezo patch at the bottom. Okay, so the thickness of the substrate here it is T suffix S, and thickness of the piezo layer. So this is the piezo layer. So this not the black one, the top one, this is a piezo layer. So the thickness of the piezo patch you can consider as TA, and again here the thickness of the piezo patch you can consider as TA. So in between the piezo layer and the substrate, you have a bonding layer. You can see a black patch which is nothing but the bonding layer. If you have a bonding layer, then the piezo patch adheres to the surface very smoothly and it will be firm. So it helps in getting a smooth displacement. Sometimes what happens if there is no bonding layer in between the piezo layer and well as the substrate, then you will not be having the proper deformation related to adhesion. Okay, so you'll be having only deformation which is caused due to plowing. So you should be having some bonding or the adhesiveness in between the two layers. So it will be having some grip if it wants to, in a cantilever beam, if you have a cantilever with the piezo patch, so if it is fixed properly to the substrate or the structure, then it can have free modes of movement, right? So that helps in getting a good damping behavior. Similarly, in this case also, you should be having a proper bonding layer. So this was being informed here. So he assumed that the strain will remain constant across the piezo patch and it varies linearly within the substructure. Substructure is nothing but you have the substrate along with the bonding layer. Here you will be having strain throughout the piezo patch uniformly because you have all the molecules within the piezo patch which has been polarized in a proper direction. So when you apply a load or a voltage, it gets rotated to a particular domain in a common direction and it will be uniformly aligned and hence the strain induced in the piezo patch will be uniformly aligned. But that is not the case in case of a substrate or a structure. Here within the structure, depending upon the substrate material, it will be every molecule will be in different order. You are not polarizing the substrate. You will just polarize the piezoelectric element, and hence the strain which is being induced within the substrate will vary linearly with respect to the piezo patch. So this was the concept what these two researchers assumed. Okay, so further we have to see the model which was being used for the surface bonded actuation, how it was embedded, right? So the actuator was embedded or bonded on the top and the bottom of the beam. So you can see it was bonded on both the layers. It is not that you have only one bonding layer. You have two bonding layers, one at the top and one at the bottom, because you have two piezo patches, one at the top and one at the bottom, and hence it was bonded in both the surface. So it helps for uniform extension or contraction of the piezo patch along with the structure. If there is no bonding element, then you cannot get a smooth extension or a contraction because it will not be sticking. If you have two papers which are sticking together, then it will be firm enough. If it is not sticking, then there will be no any relative motion or grip to get the required extension or compression, and hence they added a suitable bonding layer which is suitable across the surface of actuator and the structure. So now due to the application of the load, the bending usually comes into picture. So bending also could be generated throughout the phase excitation of the piezo ceramics. So when you apply some load, depending upon the length of the piezo patch and the substrate, the bending comes into picture because it's many times what happens, it will be constrained at one end. If you have a rod here, it will be constrained at one hand, so you'll be having the patch at the top and the bottom, and if you apply the force, it might make the rod to bend, right, or to have an free movement on the other end as in cantilever beam, or if it is constrained in both the ends, so it could have an uniform bend across the rod. So all these things can also be evaluated when you have a proper bonding due to the bonding layer. That's what it is being told. So bending also can be generated throughout the phase of the piezo ceramics which is placed across the rod. So in that case, what is the static equilibrium condition on which the induced strain can be expressed? So we have studied the induced strain in case of mechanical loading, and we have studied the induced strain in case of actuator loading. Similarly, in case of making a mathematical model for free strain distribution, you have to understand what will be the equilibrium condition when you apply the force, so that you will be getting the relative strain within the material. So at equilibrium, you have this equation, twice Fa plus Fs is equal to Fi. F suffix A is nothing but the force developed across the piezoelectric element. It is written as twice F suffix A because you have two piezo patches. One is the top and one is the bottom. Right? So these are the force induced, the reactive force induced across the piezo patch, plus the force which has been developed across the substrate. So that will be equal to the total force which has been applied across the given structure with the piezo patch. It is similar to the equation what we used to refer for the equilibrium condition. Okay, see here we used to add the values of the stress of the piezo patch plus the substrate is equal to some value of F. Since it was actuator leading, here F is equal to 0. When in mechanical loading, you have seen that we have used the equation F for the force equilibrium. Similarly, to derive a mathematical model for the uniform strain model, so this is the equilibrium condition what we have to follow. So once you have developed that equation, so now we have to develop an equilibrium equation in terms of strain. This was only in terms of force which has been generated. Okay. So now due to the applied force, some strain will be induced both across the piezo element, across the substrate. Okay. So that we have to put on. Right. So here again you will write twice the elastic modulus of the piezo element and the elastic compliance of the piezo element plus the, okay, in this case it is just, okay, we are speaking with respect to the piezo patch, so it will be the area. Okay, and here because the same term has different meanings in different sections, be careful. Okay, even E stands for elastic modulus and it stands for elastic compliance in the previous things what we studied. Since we are speaking with respect to piezo patch, the terminologies here again changes. So here E is nothing but the modulus of elasticity of the piezo element and S denotes the strain across the piezo element and A denotes to that of the cross-sectional area of the piezoelectric element. So this is for the piezo element. It is written twice because we have two patches. Then we come across the substrate or the structure. So this will be the modulus of elasticity for the substrate and this will be the strain which has been developed across the substrate and this is the area of the substrate or area of the rod or area of the structure. Right? So this will be the combination for the actuator plus the structure. So to be in equilibrium, that should be equal to twice the amount of free strain. So free strain is represented here by inverted V. Okay. So the combination of the strain across the piezo element plus the combination of the strain across the structure will provide you the free strain. Okay. So it should be equal to twice the free strain value into the modulus of elasticity across the piezo element and the area across the piezo element. So this is the condition for equilibrium in terms of strain to develop a uniform strain model. Only the thing what you have to understand is the subscript P denotes always for piezo material and the subscript S always denotes for the substrate. So this is a combination of piezo plus a substrate in equilibrium that should be equal to twice the free strain value of the modulus of elasticity of the piezo element across the area of the piezo element. So this is the equilibrium condition. So once the equilibrium condition is achieved, in that case what happens is the strain across the actuator will be equal to the strain across the substrate and that will be equal to twice the free strain upon 2 plus the stiffness ratio. So what is the stiffness ratio? Stiffness ratio is given by the ratio of the elastic modulus of the substrate into the area of the substrate divided by the elastic modulus of the piezo element into the area of the piezo element. It shows the stiffness capability of the given material with respect to the substrate. If the value is good, then it has a good stiffness ratio. Okay. So at equilibrium condition, both the strain values will be equal to same. Means that will be equal to twice to the free strain upon 2 plus the stiffness ratio. The stiffness ratio will vary from one material to the another. It depends upon which piezoelectric composition you are synthesizing. Based on that, the stiffness ratio increases or decreases. Okay, but irrespective of the stiffness ratio and the free strain at equilibrium condition, for uniform strain model, SA will be equal to SS. S suffix A will be equal to S suffix S. That is, the strain across the actuator will be equal to strain across the substrate. And one new equation what you have to understand is the stiffness ratio, which speaks about the elastic modulus of the substrate to that of the elastic modulus of the piezo element across the given cross-sectional area. So this is for equilibrium condition. And I told apart from this, even bending could happen depending upon the alignment of the piezo patches, okay, towards the beginning or towards the end or at the centers. Usually when it is towards your left, it will be constrained at the left and it can have the free movement and you will get the to and fro movement in case of cantilever. But if it is fixed at both the ends, when you subject the load, then the actual bending happens. Okay, so for bending, what is the equilibrium condition? Similar to that of the strain equation, we are developing the equilibrium equation for bending. So in that case, also you will combine the concept of piezo element with that of the substrate, that will be equal to the free strain times the piezo element factors. Okay, it is not equal to twice here. Only the differences here, it was equal to twice in the equilibrium condition, right? It was twice the free strain, but whereas for bending, it will not be the twice the free strain. Okay. So you will be focusing on the bending because bending majorly happens across the entire substrate along with the piezo patches. Okay, so here this will be the part of elastic modulus of the piezo patch and the stress induced across the actuator, area of the piezo patch, along with that the thickness of the substrate, because it will be adhered with respect to the surface. You cannot omit the thickness of the substrate and show only the values of piezo. Similarly here, when you show the value of the substrate, you cannot show only the value of substrate. You should show the strain induced across the actuator also, because there will be an interface between the actuator and the substrate that you have to understand. So this will be the equation. You don't have any derivation. So while explaining, you should show at equilibrium. For bending, this is the equation what we are going to use. And similarly for the strain equilibrium, how we showed the strain across the actuator is equal to strain across the substrate. Here also you have the equation, strain across the actuator will be equal to strain across the substrate, which will be equal to 6 times the free strain of the piezo element divided by 6 plus the stiffness ratio. And here the bending stiffness ratio is given by this equation what you have to understand. Okay, so these equations you should just remember while explaining the terms of equilibrium, strain distribution, as well as equilibrium for bending distribution, and as well as one more thing, static equilibrium with respect to forces applied and static equilibrium with respect to the strain applied. So all these we are focusing related to the mathematical modeling for uniform strain, which has been developed by Crawley and Anderson. So if they ask you to explain the modeling done for an uniform strain across the actuator and a substrate with the bonding layer, then you should start up who invented this model, what was the basic concept they assumed, then how was the structure developed with respect to the actuator and the substrate. You had an extra bonding layer here, both at the top and the bottom. So due to the bonding layer, you should focus on the bending also which come across the piezo patches, and hence you will be showing the equilibrium condition for the strain across the rod as well as related to the bending. Okay, so both the things we will show. So first we will show the static equilibrium, which will focus you the total force applied related to the piezo element as well as the structure. Then you will focus on equilibrium equation in terms of strain which has been induced across the actuator as well as the substrate. After that, you will show the equilibrium condition in terms of strain also, where stiffness ratio comes into picture. Once this is done, then you have to focus for bending as you are using a bonding layer. So for bonding layer to be in equilibrium condition, okay, so these are the two equations what we will be following up. And lastly, there is one more thing what you have to understand. So induced strain to the actuation ratio. Why this ratio is essential? What happens is when the thickness of the bonding layer is finite, so it again depends upon the thickness ratio of the bonding layer. Sometimes you might use a very minute thick layer of bonding, sometimes a little bit broader thickness. So with respect to the thickness of the bonding, it again varies. So due to understand the variation, you should know the ratio of the induced strain to the actuation strain. Basically, when the thickness of the bonding layer is finite, okay, what happens is the presence of viscoelastic bonding material reduces the transmission of stress from actuator to substrate. If the thickness of the bonding layer is regular in between the structure and the piezo element, so you will be having a structure and a piezo element. So in between these two, you will be having a bonding layer. If you have a proper fixed confirmed thickness of bonding layer used consistently, then what happens is usually the bonding layer will be made up of viscoelastic material. So it will be having some property to adhere to each other. So this viscoelastic material will reduce the amount of stress transmitted from actuator to substrate. Since due to the reduction of the stress, the amount of strain induced in the structure also will be less. So due to that, you will be having a very mild deformation or the displacement across the structure. Okay, if you don't have a bonding layer, then what happens? The direct stress will be transmitted to the structure, so even the structure will be having a larger deformation. Usually we focus with having the bonding layer only, so that the maximum strain induced will be in our piezo element and the amount of strain induced in the structure will be very less, where we can assume as negligible. Okay, so that will happen if you use a bonding layer. If you don't use a bonding layer, then the strain across the substrate also will be more. In this condition, the induced strain to the actuation strain will be shown by this equation. Okay, so there is no derivation for this. You have to just show which are the equations what you will be using for with what perspective. So here the symbol will be referring to that of the shear log. Okay, so this is for shear log, which is a non-dimensional length parameter. It doesn't have any dimensional length. It is a non-dimensional length parameter which varies from -1 to +1. Okay, apart from that, you have alpha. So alpha will be nothing but the geometric constant. Okay, and this constant is equal to 2 for extension. Means if you have a displacement, and the geometric constant of alpha will be equal to 6 if you are having an bending which is coming into pincher. So depending upon whether the piezo patch is going towards the extension or towards the bending, you have to substitute the value of alpha as either 2 or 6. And I told you chi is nothing but the stiffness ratio. Okay, so stiffness ratio you will get related to the bending or the extension. With respect to different cases, it will be different. And the letter G here. So this is the letter G what we are using. So letter G will be the shear modulus for the bonding layer. So you just need to know this equation. Don't worry about the derivation. If in case they ask you, okay, what is the induced strain to actuation strain ratio with respect to bonding layer, then you should be able to give this strain equation across a piezo element, which is equal to that of the piezo constant. Okay, geometric constant, the value varies depending upon either extension or the bending, and this is a stiffness ratio, right? And this is the shear log value what we use. It is of not so much importance. I'm just telling you which all you have to understand. Basically, you have a very simple part of it in your syllabus. So this ends with the strain actuator interrelation, how you use this concept to derive the mathematical modeling for uniform strain model. Okay, so if you have bending, then you have to determine the equilibrium condition for the strain across the bending also. So once that is done, due to the one concept is because of the bonding layer, the amount of the stress reduces. So when the stress reduces, the stress of the structure will be almost equal to 0. In that case, what will be the strain which is being induced across the actuator? So due to that, only when related to bonding layer comes into picture, this is the equation what you have to use. In many cases, you will be just having a rod and a piezo patch. You will be not having any bonding layer at all. If in case it has a bonding layer, and if in case the load subjected is of uniformly distributed, so that you will be having a uniformly strain inducement, then you have to refer with the uniform strain model what we have explained. Okay, and you can violate this bonding equation. If in the diagram, if they have shown a bonding layer along with the piezo patch and the rod, which is in rare case, at that time you should be knowing what is the equation which is being used to determine the strain across the actuator. Is that clear? Hello? Yeah, so in the next class, we will just complete the Euler-Bernoulli model. So if we complete this, then it covers our first module, which is of 10 hours. It is a huge chapter, right? So you have to understand all the key concepts, and there are few simple numerical examples what we have to deal up. So that we will be doing it in the next class. So we'll just derive a simple equation for Euler-Bernoulli model. So after that, we will solve some problems and we'll wind up with module 1. So if you have any doubts, you're free to ask. And I have shared the quiz already in the Google Classroom. So after this, you can kindly take the quiz within the tea break and complete. Any doubts?
No.
Shri Harsha, you are there?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, your name is not in the roll list received from the office. What is the reason?
Ma'am, actually, I'm in year back, ma'am.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, no, I have entered your name, but the list was not given from the office with your name added. So I wanted to clarify it. Okay. You are
Ma'am,
eligible, right?
yesterday I submitted a continuation. Yeah, ma'am.
Yesterday you have submitted?
Yesterday I submitted, ma'am. Take permission from HOD, sir, and submit to the admin office, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Then it will be updated later then. Fine. Mohan Ambal, you are supposed to tell something?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So then answer your attendance. Shri Harsha is done. Mohan Ambal? Present?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Sandesh?
Yes, ma'am.
Sandesh is present. Okay. Srinidhi?
Yes, ma'am.
Srinidhi, why you were absent continuously?
Ma'am, I had told about the interview, ma'am.
Yeah, right. You have put a mail, na? You just message me on what
For
all
yesterday,
dates
sir, I
you
have
had
told personally
interview,
only,
okay?
ma'am.
Okay.
Okay,
I
ma'am.
think you
I'll
have
do that.
mailed me, no?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, please. Sukrut?
I'll mail you the call
Sukrut is
recording and details, ma'am.
nice absent. Vinay? Yeah, you please do that. You mail your WhatsApp, whatever. Better if you mail me.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Dhanush is not there? Yeah, thank you. Dhanush is absent today. Mithun is not there. Is he attending other classes regularly? Mithun? Until now, you have attended only 3 classes.
Ma'am, he was little busy, ma'am.
Okay, what busy? Any important thing?
And Pitru Paksha and all, it came, ma'am, last.
Pitru. That got over, no?
Yes, ma'am. After that, he'll come.
Inform him to attend the classes regularly, okay? And what about Vinay?
Yes, ma'am.
Not a single class been attended from
Don't know,
him.
ma'am.
Mithun also have very low attendance. This is our 11th hour. He has attended only 3. Just inform them to
Yes,
attend
ma'am.
the classes. I hope
Okay, ma'am.
everyone have
Okay.
written your name and USN in the chat room, no? Yeah, then. Okay, so until next class, please take care. Have a nice day. Please attend the quiz within the tea break, okay? Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.